The summer sun beat down on Sarajevo, June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was visiting, a symbol of foreign rule to many Serbs. As his motorcade rolled along the Apel Quay, Nedeljko Kabrinović hurled a bomb. It bounced off the Archduke's car, exploding beneath the next vehicle. The Archduke and his wife Sophie were unharmed. Shaken but resolute, Franz Ferdinand insisted on visiting the wounded. His driver, confused by a changed route, took a wrong turn onto a crowded side street. There, fate intervened. Gavrilo Princip, another assassin, was waiting. He raised his pistol, but a jostling crowd knocked his arm. The shot missed, shattering a shop window. The Archduke's car sped away. Princip was swallowed by the mob. News of the double escape spread rapidly. Vienna was relieved but outraged. The insult was grave, but without a dead air, war was hard to justify. The Archduke, a cautious man, urged restraint. He saw his survival as a sign to pursue diplomacy, not war. Across Europe, leaders breathed easier. Kaiser Wilhelm II sent congratulations. London, Paris, and St. Petersburg watched with relief. The alliances that bound Europe had been tested, but catastrophe was averted. Barely. Yet the tensions remained. The failed assassination became a warning, not a lesson. The powder keg was still there, its fuse only dampened. The world had been given a second chance, but the underlying resentments and ambitions simmered on. The Archduke's survival postponed the crisis, but did not resolve it. In coffee houses and palaces alike, people wondered, what would it take to finally set Europe alight? The day ended with relief, but also with a sense of foreboding. The world had held its breath and exhaled for now, but the clock was still ticking. The next spark could come from anywhere. History for a moment had paused, but not changed course. The Archduke's survival sent ripples through Europe's capitals. Instead of war, there were condemnations and uneasy relief. Austria-Hungary, furious but constrained, could not justify attacking Serbia without a martyr. Serbia condemned the attack, promising an investigation, a diplomatic dance masking deeper tensions. The machinery of war paused, but only temporarily. In Berlin, Kaiser Wilhelm II was frustrated. His hopes for a swift, decisive war were dashed. Paris and London hoped the near miss would prompt a rethinking of alliances, but old rivalries ran too deep. Newspapers sensationalized the Archduke's escape, fueling nationalism on all sides. In Austria-Hungary, anti-Serb sentiment grew. In Serbia, the failed assassins became secret heroes. The incident became legend, reinforcing the sense that Europe's fate hung by a thread. As summer faded, a deceptive calm settled. Armies returned to barracks, diplomats to their routines. But the countdown to war had only been reset, not stopped. Nations used the reprieve to prepare, building weapons, training soldiers, stoking patriotic fervor. The sigh of relief was shallow and fleeting. Beneath the surface, the storm gathered strength. Europe had stepped back from the brink, but the abyss remained. The next crisis would find the continent even more ready and more willing to fight. The year after Sarajevo was one of mounting tension. Peace held, but only through fear. The arms race accelerated. Germany expanded its navy. Britain responded with new dreadnoughts. Armies swelled. France extended conscription. Russia modernized with French loans. War plans grew more aggressive. Germany's Schlieffen Plan, France's Plan 17, designed for offense, not defense. Nationalism intensified. Children learned to distrust neighbors. Newspapers fanned the flames. The alliance system became a tripwire, triple alliance versus triple entente, each pact laced with secret clauses. Any spark could ignite a continent-wide war. The powder keg was packed tighter than ever. Europe was divided, armed, and waiting. The year was spent sharpening knives and loading guns. Everyone sensed the coming storm. By summer 1915, Europe's peace was threadbare. War began not with an assassination, but a border clash between Bulgaria and Greece, each backed by rival empires. Austria-Hungary, eager to reassert itself, issued an ultimatum to Greece and encouraged Bulgaria. Russia, defending its influence, mobilized along the Austro-Hungarian border. Germany, fearing Russian mobilization, declared war on Russia on August 1, 1915. France, bound by alliance, joined in. Germany struck first, declaring war on France and demanding passage through Belgium. Britain hesitated, until Germany invaded Belgium, violating its neutrality. Bound by treaty and strategy, Britain declared war on August 4th. The lights went out across Europe, not with a single shot, but a cascade of disastrous decisions. The war began as a calculated, deliberate descent into chaos. No one could stop the chain reaction. The alliances worked as designed, pulling everyone in. The world slid into war, not by accident, but by design. The powder keg finally exploded. The old order was swept away. The war had begun. Europe was engulfed. The War of 1915 was shaped by a year's delay. Italy, weighing its options, stayed neutral at first, weakening the Central Powers. The Ottoman Empire joined Germany early, seeking lost glory. The Schlieffen Plan faltered. France and Belgium had fortified, slowing the German advance. The Western Front bogged down into trench warfare almost immediately. Russia, better prepared, launched early offensives, forcing Germany to split its forces. The war became a two-front struggle from the start. Japan seized German colonies, but the US remained distant, isolationist sentiment stronger than ever. The absence of a clear villain and the complex escalation delayed American entry, altering the war's trajectory. The stage was set for a longer, bloodier, and more uncertain conflict. A year's delay transformed the battlefield. Armies entered war with more machine guns, better artillery, and new tactics, less naive, more deadly. Trench warfare began immediately. The slaughter was systematic from day one. Aircraft, now equipped with synchronized guns, became true fighters. Poison gas was ready from the outset, adding new horrors. Populations, hardened by a year of tension and propaganda, faced war with grim determination. Governments had time to prepare economies and pass sweeping controls. The transition to total war was immediate and organized. The home front mobilized instantly. The war's brutality was amplified by preparation. A 1915 war would have been even more devastating. Better prepared armies meant higher casualties from the start. Economic strain could have triggered unrest and revolution sooner, perhaps toppling the Russian Tsar in 1916. An early Bolshevik victory might have freed Germany to focus on the West, tipping the balance. Without a clear villain or atrocity, US entry might have been delayed, making Allied victory less certain. A German victory was plausible, reshaping Europe under Berlin's dominance. Old empires might have survived as junior partners. The post-war world would look radically different. No Versailles, no war guilt, no rise of Nazism as we know it. The trauma and disillusionment would be even deeper. The 20th century's path would be forever altered. The 1915 war differed fundamentally from 1914. The real war began with a shocking crime. The alternate war, with deliberate escalation and no clear villain. Public support was harder to muster. The conflict was more cynical, less righteous. Armies were more modern, the slaughter more intense from the outset. The war was static, defined by attrition and logistics, not grand maneuvers. Italy's neutrality and the Ottomans' early entry shifted the strategic map. Delayed US involvement made a German victory possible. The war was a calculated struggle for survival, not a crusade. The post-war world would be built on different foundations with new grievances and new powers. History's course was changed by a single missed shot. This alternate timeline reveals history's fragility. The war wasn't inevitable, it was the result of choices, not fate. Delaying the spark changed everything: technology, alliances, even the war's outcome. The deeper causes, nationalism, alliances, arms races, remained. The war's horror was amplified by preparation and calculation. The world of 1915 was not 1914. The war was different, and so was its legacy. The scenario strips away the myth of inevitability, exposing the real dangers beneath. Europe was primed for conflict. Any crisis could have triggered catastrophe. Avoiding one crisis wasn't enough. Peace required addressing the roots of mistrust and ambition. The lesson history turns on small moments, but is shaped by deeper currents.